It's hard to believe, but the 2024 Paris Olympic Games are fast approaching. In preparation, the Mission Viejo Nadadores, known around the world, have already started their quest for success in both diving and swimming. Two new coaches are at the helm. Directing the Nadadores dive team is John Appleman. He's a championship coach that is about to return the Nadadores to prominence. On the pool deck, leading the swim team, is Jeff Julian. Known for winning wherever he goes and for his incredible coaching skills, he brings with him a long list of champions and championships. Coach Julian is proud to call Mission Viejo home, and the Nadadores welcome him with open arms. Two great coaches. I'm Paul Higgins, this is Coach's Corner, and my discussion with the Nadadores starts right now. Coach, it's great to be on the pool deck, and you and I were just talking about, this is basically your office.
It is.
Be
out in the sun every day. It's pretty nice.
Not a bad office.
Yeah.
Coming here, you have big shoes to fill.
Absolutely.
We were jokingly talking about with Michelle Mitchell.
Yep.
How did that transpire when you got that call, or how did you know that it was even open or available for you to come here?
So I was speaking to Michelle for a few months. She thought that she would move into this executive director role, and she had reached out to me, and we had multiple conversations over several months about this opportunity. I was down in Texas at the time, and it'd be a big move for the family, but just talking about the different opportunities that exist here and the resources that exist here in Mission Viejo, the great support of the city that we have, and you know, after the conversations, I came out, took a visit, and knew that this is a place my family and I would want to be. Yeah.
Let's step back for a moment. Obviously, you have a good history in the sport. Can you tell us a little bit about your dive experience and how that led to you coaching on this level?
Absolutely. I grew up in the Virginia, D.C. area, and grew up diving in a summer league system that we had there. I think there were about 2,000 divers participating in the summer league system, and started when I was 7 years old, and went and dove in college. And when I got out of college, my club coach that I grew up diving for was retiring. He said, "Hey, you want to take over my club?"
Yeah.
So at 23 years old, I started my own business and just ran with it. I was a government major and never knew I'd end up in coaching, but it was an opportunity at that time that I thought I'd run with, and just worked real hard over a lot of years and just built my way up through the sport, and you know, landed me here eventually.
I know that you're a lot younger than me, but having grown up in the city of Mission Viejo, I had the opportunity to watch Greg Louganis here, and those were phenomenal days for USA Diving.
Absolutely.
When you think about that legacy here and other places that you have been, what does that make you feel like, and what does you try to aspire for this program to be?
I think we have the opportunity to do things differently here with the resources that we have, and again with the support of the city, and I want to redefine how we do things in the United States. We have a competitive system in the United States that rewards skipping steps and going faster, and I really want to have the opportunity to draw back a little bit and really refine the technique and the foundation that we're building in our athletes. And I think this is one of the few places in the United States where they have the ability to do that with the resources, with the number of athletes, with the support system that we have in this program. We have a unique opportunity to do things differently. And I think within a 3 to 5 year time period, we're going to be doing something special.
Yeah.
And that's what really drove me here, is I knew I had a system that I've done it on a smaller scale, that now we could do things on a grand scale at a place that's magical and has the history and the tradition of doing amazing things. It's let's get back there and let's develop the system and the structure to create a consistent pipeline of amazing athletes.
And what you have done already, you've already had national titles. You've already been there, done that.
Absolutely.
And you take some of that secret recipe that you did there and bring it here.
Yep.
When you look at an athlete, do you automatically know, I can work with this diver. I can work with this athlete that might not even be a diver. Can you tell me about that? Because I'm sure there's kids out there that are probably fabulous divers and they don't even know it.
Right. I mean, I've had a unique experience and opportunity to have 50 national champions that I've trained over my career of young kids coming up. And there are definitely those kids you take one look at them and I mean, that kid's going to be something special. But we have this notion in athletics that talent is just a God-given thing, and a lot of times it is, but talent could also be created. And that's what I want people to understand, that in any sport, if you work hard enough and if you follow the right structure and system, that talent can be created over time. And some might do it faster if you have that talented athlete, but anybody can do any sport if they put in the time, the effort, and the work to be great at what they do.
No doubt. I'm curious, Coach, when you're on the pool deck and you're at a meet, you're at a dive competition, how much coaching can you do in between each dive? And then, Coach, how do you know when to back off and not say anything?
Yeah. Well, we often say when we go to competition that the hay's in the barn at that point. We put in the work. And I talk to the kids all the time about this urgency curve, that as coaches, we feel this great sense of urgency at the beginning of the season. And we're doing the simple stuff and refining things, where the kids, they feel the urgency at the end of the season to get ready for a big competition. Where at that point, we're like, hey, we've done the work now. Let's just go and do what we've put the work in for. So competitions, it's really boosting their ego and boosting the mental side of things and making them feel great about what they're doing.
Let's talk about that mental side, because if you have a diver that hits that gap there, that they're having a little bit of trouble, how do you get them out of that? Maybe they're hitting the dive, they hit it, and then all of a sudden they're not hitting it anymore. How do you get them back to snap back?
Yeah, a lot of times, I mean, there's multiple different techniques, but a lot of times it's just taking it back to ground zero and building that dive back up through the process that they've been through a million times, and giving them confidence at each step of that progression. But it happens, we run through a lot of mental blocks in our sport. It's a scary sport. There's a lot of crazy things that they do out here, but it's just knowing that we could break it down to its most simplistic piece and building it back up from there.
So what do you enjoy about all of this that you do? I mean, it's really special. I always say, hey, when we're coming to the Nadadores pool, it's always exciting for me, because so much history, and I've covered so many meets here. But it's got to be exciting for you, and that I get to go to the pool today.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's an amazing place to work. I sometimes sit down on the pool deck, the sun's shining, the breeze is blowing. I'm like, I can close my eyes and picture myself on the beach right now. It's kind of nice. But the biggest and most rewarding part of this job is the impact that we can have on these kids. What I always tell the families is who they are as people when they leave this program is 10 times more important than anything they do as an athlete, as a diver, and we have the opportunity to have an amazing impact. The most rewarding thing is when a kid graduates, goes off to college, and then talks to you years later, they said, wow, you did amazing things for me as a person, as a human being. And that's the most rewarding part of the job.
So it reminds me, I mentioned to you, I have 4 kids in competitive cheerleading, which is a lot like gymnastics, like diving. And I joke because what's the return on investment? Absolutely. It might not be monetarily, but Coach, it's so much different than that. My kids are so much, better to be in a sport like that. I'm sure you find it the same way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. We're teaching them life lessons that a sport like this, it's invaluable, in terms of work ethic and responsibility and respect for one another and teamwork and collaboration, things of that nature that will carry them for the rest of their lives. And a lot of times we'll sit there warming up for practice and we'll just chit-chat about life and kind of talk about difficulties they're having in their life and how to work through different situations. So it's great.
And I know that you have the city of Mission Viejo behind you.
Absolutely.
And as we get going here towards the Olympics, we've got Paris, right?
It is Paris in 24.
And then, of course, LA in 28. And I know there's probably 2 things already marked on your calendar.
Absolutely.
You've got to be excited about those 2. First Paris, and tell me your thoughts about that. It's not that far away.
Right. No, it's a year and a half away. With the last Olympics being delayed a year, it's that quadrennium is a lot quicker, obviously, this time around. And we have quite a few national team athletes in our program. We actually have 7 of our athletes are on the national team. So it's hopefully getting them qualified for the Olympic trials and taking that run at the Olympics there in Paris.
I know that this sport, you mentioned it, it's a difficult sport.
It is.
And I'm looking up there right now. Do you mind if we go up there just to do the latter part of the interview?
Absolutely.
Is that
Let's
okay?
take a run. Absolutely.
All right. Coach, I know that this sport is subjective. And when you come to judging it, I know it's more refined now in the sense of what they're looking for, but these kids have to be so good at what they do. Can you tell me about the judging aspect of diving?
Yeah, there's specific elements that they look for. I think there are 7 different categories that they evaluate, from your starting position on the diving board to your approach and takeoff, position in the air, lines on the entry, how much splash you have at the water. So they're really taught as judges to break apart all of those different elements of a dive and kind of pick apart what they don't like. Yeah.
And is it your job also to teach these kids what they're looking for? Obviously, if they understand the judges, maybe they understand what they're looking for and how to dive accordingly.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't necessarily educate them on exactly what the judges are looking for. Really, we're just looking to build the overall athlete. And if we're doing our jobs the right way, then we're covering all of those bases.
Yeah.
And we definitely reinforce those things that the judges are looking for. And really, it's just, again, reinforcing the proper body shapes and movement patterns and really entry into the water. Unfortunately, our sport is about 80% of the score comes from your entry in the water, having no splash in the water. And so that's a big one we key in on.
That's crucial. Coach, I know that you and I talked briefly about you building the program.
Yep.
And you said, and off camera, you said, in 3 to 5 years, we're going to be pretty good.
Yep.
It's okay if we stick around for the next 3 and 5 years and watch you do all this?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, well, it's
some special things.
It's certainly nice to steal you from Virginia and Woodlands and having you here in Mission Viejo.
Certainly.
Congratulations on the early success, and congratulations on the success that you're about to achieve.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Up next, we leave the diving platform and head on over to the pool deck. The other half of the Nadadores equation is that of the Nadadores swim team, under the new direction of Coach Jeff Julian. An incredible swimmer in his own right, he could very well be an even better coach. With the Paris Olympics fast approaching, Coach Julian has high expectations. When we come back, our discussion. But for the moment, we go to the pool deck for a look at some inside coaching.
111.2, 135.1. So 23.9 coming home still. Alright. Good. 20 seconds rest is good, but 35 is pretty good speed. Looking nice and long, not having to force tempo overall in terms of short course, stuff like that. That's good.
First 75 wasn't bad. Started to hurt after that. I got a little tight in the legs.
Sure. Still going to be a tuna fly.
Right.
Get a couple breaks, but it's still going to be a tuna fly in there. No, that was good. Looked great. Stroke looks good. Flow to the stroke looks good.
Feels a little like stiff, but
That's where you're going to be.
Coach Jeff Julian of the Mission Viejo Nadadores up next, right here on Coach's Corner.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're so
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Coach, you and I were just talking about it. You have had tremendous success in the pool yourself. And now you're parlaying that in your coaching career. You've been here, 9-10 months?
Yeah.
And how's it been so far?
It's been amazing. I mean, to come to a facility and a team like the Nadadores is just an exciting thing. And for me, you mentioned my history. I grew up in Southern California. So my history has always been competing against the Nadadores, chasing the Nadadores, and now to have an opportunity to take my coaching career and lead the Nadadores and take them and do something brand new for the sport and the team, it's an exciting opportunity.
Talk about brand new. You're doing something a little different. You have pro athletes, and you have post-grad athletes. I mean, you're taking this to a new level.
We are. No, it's Mission Viejo. When I started talking to them about this opportunity, they wanted to do something new. So this opportunity now isn't just taking the pros and post-grads, but it's actually giving them a focused environment. And in the U.S., it just doesn't happen much. There's oftentimes those pros and post-grads go to a college environment to where that coach's first job is the college.
Right.
Here, we actually get to focus on those athletes, focus on those pros and post-grads, and give them an opportunity. And it's the Nadadores. The Nadadores have always led the way in competitive swimming, right? And they're just taking that next step to create something that's just not available in the U.S. right now.
Coach, I know that you bring this new philosophy to the Nadadores of how you're approaching it. Was that your idea, or was that something that you discussed with other people to kind of bring the pros in here and the post-grad athletes?
So it was a combination. The Nadadores were looking for that. The foundation itself was looking to do something different and to bring that in. And then it was kind of my spin on what I believe was needed. I had the opportunity in the ISL, the International Swim League, for 2 of the previous 3 years to be involved. And that's really where I dove back into the pro level and this level. And in doing so, it really gave me the vision of what they needed. So I was able to put that together and partner with them. So it became kind of this, almost this VC pitch of they wanted something, and I came in and kind of pitched the vision I had and how I saw serving the athletes, but serving the whole Nadador family as well. Whether it's these smaller kids and getting the pros involved with them, or partnering up with our dive pros and kind of sharing services and things like that. This vision is for that overall Nadador family. So it was an exciting opportunity to kind of sell them on that, and the Nadadors were excited to take that step forward in kind of the future of swimming and diving that we see it.
Yeah. Your coaches are busy out here. We're hearing them as we walk by. It's serious stuff. I told you I teach as well. And I love having swimmers as my students because they're just great kids. They're just great people. It's because of that discipline.
It is.
And you're a disciplined guy all your life. I mean, I don't know when you sleep, but you know.
It's a funny thing. But we as swimmers learn to just operate better out of that discipline, right? And I find, and even the pros, like when they come out of college, oftentimes they want to go from, I had so much structure, so much discipline that I don't want it anymore, right? But when they do that, they fall off. They're just not as good without that structure and without that discipline. And that's what this sport gives, right? And that's what we talk about all the time is, yeah, we're trying to make them faster in the water, but that's only the result. What we're actually trying to do is teach them life lessons and teach them how to chase anything in life that they want to chase, right? And swimming is just the vehicle we're using to do it. So it's fun that way.
So you've got Paris coming up, and then you've got Los Angeles. Boy, are you going to get some attention. I mean, you're going to be doing this a lot with a lot of people, what you and I are doing right now. I know you've been there and done that, but you've got to be excited that you're going to be here.
It's, this is almost full circle for me in terms of my swimming life. My mom loves swimming, but I was 9 years old when the Olympics was here in '84. And that was kind of the push over of swimming was my thing. I wanted it. I chased this level and this type of thing. So to have it come back and to have my kind of start here at the Nadadores building this program, leading into that 2028 back in LA, it's an exciting venture just on so many different levels, right? Just the enthusiasm that we have and bringing in other countries to train going into that 2028 games. There's so many different things that are going to be so exciting just for the community itself and the Nadadores especially.
I will tell you that I was here in '84. I was working down the road at Gemco. It's where Target is on Alicia Parkway. Bike guys went right down the street here, an Olympiad right over our shoulder. Swimming here was amazing. Yes, you just brought back the chills on me because it's going to be, even though it's LA, but there's going to be some special
No,
things.
it's still going to come down, and we are going to create an environment here just with the diving and swimming and having some of the world's best training here and leading up to that. So they're going to get that sneak peek into the Olympics before it even happens. So it's going to be fun for the community, because we're going to open it up and bring community members in and give them access to these swimmers as well, and get to know some of them and have that insider, because that's what's great. Like when you watch the Olympics, learning those stories and learning about them is part of that fun, and to have the ability to do that here with athletes both that are home trained and training here for those Olympics, but also bringing in those international athletes and teams to do it. It gets me excited.
So I was looking at the long list of athletes that you have, and I don't want to start mentioning them because we're going to leave out a couple, but I'll make sure we cover as many as we can. But you have a great, male and female side, right, to what you're doing. And I know as a coach, it's hard to, you've got to give your attention to a lot of different people. How do you do that at this level? How do you know when to, all right, this guy's okay. He's doing okay today. How do you know when to push and pull?
It's an interesting thing, because it does get that much more individualized, right? And I've always, as a coach, I've always been a team guy. And that's kind of the same approach. When you come to the Nadadores, it's a team effect and team event. But what we want to do is make sure that we have all of our team, but then it's all individual pathways towards that kind of unified goal. And for us, on the top end, one of the biggest goals is those podium finishes, right? Getting those medals and getting that top end. That's what it is to be a pro, right? And that's what we're going to do. But it's been such a great start to have those national athletes, but then also have the international athletes do it, and have them all working together with the same vision, but so many different directions, and understanding that, look, I don't have to force you to all do the same thing like a college team.
Right.
We're going to take you individually. We're going to go forward. So when somebody needs to do something different, we're going to do it. Right. So it's fun that way to have that.
Coach, I'm going to compliment you because you look like you can still swim and get in that pool. Are you still doing that?
I try to. I go through hits and misses in terms of consistency there, and launching this really kind of took a lot of my time, but I do enjoy getting back in, and I actually find it helps me think through things. Not things that I can do necessarily, but things like, all right, I think I want to see how they can do these things and do it. It's really beneficial for me to be in the water and get that feeling.
With that said, how much has swimming changed since you were in between the lanes?
That's funny. You know what? I've always been big on learning and just kind of advancing my process. And part of that was going to clinics and learning from other people. I just, like maybe a few months ago, I saw some of those handouts. We were told like the wrong thing so many times, but it was just the advancement, right? I say wrong just because we know where it is now. But so many things has changed, right? But that's the exciting part of sport and taking those next steps forward. And it's the same but different, right? It really is the same. The core values and what it takes and the lessons we learn, all of that really stays the same. How we do it, how fast we swim, how we find that ability to be faster in the water, that's what's changed. But those are just the kind of that evolution of technology, even in advancement in terms of how we can learn and what we can learn.
You know how to turn a program around. Not to say that this program needs to be turned around, but when you have an athlete, is it something, do you have to recruit an athlete or do they come to you? And if you have to recruit, Coach, what do you say?
So it is somewhat recruiting, right? But it's Mission Viejo, right? So the approach we've taken is we want to serve these athletes the best way we can, and we think we're providing something that's going to allow us to do that better than anywhere in the nation. So what I'm doing is maybe recruiting, but more just selling our program and what we're offering and what the Nadadores are committed to building here. And that's what's really kind of gotten the excitement there. I'm not trying to be just another coach and if I leave then this falls apart. We're trying to build something that's truly special within the Nadador program that can continue to go and continue to grow as part of this amazing history here.
And your thoughts as you move forward, when does it start to get really a little antsy, a little nervous? I mean, we're looking at a year and a half now.
We're about a year and a half already. Yeah, 2 years maybe out of.
So I guess better ask, when does the adrenaline really kick in?
That's, you know what, that's part of my job, is that sports psychology side. Is we want to try to keep it as even as we can. Okay. So our focus and approach is really is step by step towards that meet, not because it's the biggest one, it's just that's where we're going to be our best prepared to race. Otherwise, the more we can approach that like it's any other time, and the more we approach that with our confidence and belief in everything that we've done, not just right before it, but for this next year and a half as we head into it, that's our approach. And sometimes the best thing we can do is take off, right? But other times it's time to push and go. So that excitement builds, but we want to do it even and keep our mindset correct when we go into those big meets.
Fair enough. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll put you on the spot. A lot of meets between now and then.
Yep.
If you were to lay in bed at night and think about how many athletes do you think I can get to that big day, what do you think?
Oh.
I know,
You are putting me on my spot.
You don't have to answer
my internal goal versus my external,
Yeah.
what I'm willing to say.
Because there's a lot of great teams out there in the U.S.
Look, there's a lot of great teams and a lot of great competition. And the balance of our U.S. athletes, of which we have a good handful of athletes that could be them, but then the balance of our international athletes, I think we can have a good contingent at the Olympics, meaning 5 or so more swimmers there from us on different teams and representing different countries. And if we can do that this first year, it's an exciting start.
It's amazing, Coach, and it's so good to have you here. I really enjoy talking to you.
Thank you.
This is great. It's fun, and I look forward to coming back. Boy, you're in a good spot.
Yes.
And you know what?
Yes.
The Nadadores are better for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
That was awesome. That was good.
Thanks.
That was good.